Let's go.
All right, let's do this thing. All right, guys, here we are, AK Roundtable. It is currently July 17th, 2024. Super stoked to be here with you all. We've got a pretty packed up night tonight. We're going to talk about some really important things that are going on right now. Excited to kind of go through some of the details relating to kind of what's going to be happening over the next couple of years here. And I think that there's always opportunity. Mr. Anthony Bison, by the way, your camera is sideways. You're definitely standing out. It looks like you're driving a truck down the highway sideways. There we go. Beautiful. Oh man, I'm not dizzy anymore. It's great. But yeah, we're going to talk about some great things here. For those of you that are not on camera, it would be really helpful if you popped on camera. It's always better to be able to engage through video. We get to see faces on here. Thank you so much, Terry. We get to see faces on here. We get to deliver more energy when we get to see everyone. Would you guys agree with that? Get to see all the faces on here. It's what the community is made up of. So great people. Come on. If you're driving and you can't stare at a screen, we understand. But certainly for those of you that can, let's hop on. Push that video camera. Let's get on. Cool. Let's get two more people. We've got another 6 people that have cameras off right now. Let's get 2 more people on camera and we'll get this thing started. Let's go. Let's go. Let's do it. All right. Adrian's got it. One more. Let's go. Perfect. Fantastic. Thank you for doing that. Okay, down at the very bottom, there's reactions down there. You can raise your thumb up. You can send out some reactions and emojis. Feel free to do that. You also have the chat function down at the very bottom. Feel free to chat with anyone individually or the whole group. The AK Roundtable is designed to be community-oriented. It's all about being passionate about helping each other, positive in all interactions, striving to be our best, lighthouse in all situations, and of course, paying it forward as much as we can. So there is no charge to this AK Roundtable. It's time that you put in. Whatever you take as golden nuggets, do the whole community and yourself a favor, pay it forward. It's a good thing to be able to do in life, right? Zig Ziglar once had a really, really great quote. It's still a great quote, actually. He's got a lot of them. And the quote, anybody remember what that quote is from the Asphalt Kingdom team this morning that on our jam this morning? Anybody remember that quote? Dylan Malone, let's do it. Come on, tell us what that quote was, brother.
When you help other people achieve your dreams come true.
When you help other people achieve their dreams, your dreams do come true. There's no doubt about that, man. That's for sure. Raise your hand if you agree with that. Cool. I love that. That's awesome. All right, cool. Well, let's carve into this thing. I know Dom's going to just do a quick kickoff to get our energy going here. So everyone that's watching and anybody who's not, Dom, go ahead, take it away, man.
Sorry, everyone stand up. Unless you're driving, don't stand up. Let's go. Who's coming with me? Who's coming with me? Here we go. I got Gooley in the background too. Here we go. How's this going again? Oh, wait. We're gonna go 10 to the left, 10 to the right, and then 10 jumping jacks. All right, here we go. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Outside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Up and down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You lost me. I'm still here. Let's go.
Adrian, I'm excited to see you, man. I know you're driving right now, driving that truck. It was good to have that conversation earlier with you, brother. Let's get this party started. Let's talk about some great stuff here on the AK Roundtable. Thank you, Dom, for doing that. Excited for this one. All right, I've got a question for you all. This is a really cool question that I've got for you. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen for those of you that can see my screen. Very important. You might want to write some of these notes down, okay? It's really important to take some of these golden nuggets so that ultimately you walk away with some tactical approaches to be able to build a better future for yourself. That's what we're committed to here. So let's go ahead and do this. So can everyone see my screen? Awesome. All right, I've got a question for everyone. And I want you to write this down. Do you know the total value of commercial real estate mortgage set to mature between 2024 and the end of 2026? I want you to write that number down. Do you know the total value of commercial real estate loans set to mature between 2024 and the end of 2026. And I think everybody can understand that that means that that's going to need to be paid back, right, to the banks. Everybody understand that? Write down that number that you think is the number. And then we're going to go around the board just with, we'll pick 5 people and we'll guess the different, we'll come up with the different numbers. And then what I'll do is I'll share the actual number. Please do not use Google right now. Don't cheat. No chat GPTing. Come on. We're here as a community to just dig into this. And there's something that's going to come out of this, I promise. All right. Do me a favor, raise your hand once you've got it done. You can use your reactions down at the bottom. Just pop your hand up. For those of you that are not on video, you should really come on video, guys. It's an important meeting. I promise you there's going to be some good stuff you're going to take away. Robert Wallace, you raised your hand. What is the number, Robert Wallace, that you think is coming due
I would have to
by
say
the
close
end
to
of
$60
2026?
billion.
$60 billion, correct? Is that what I heard?
That's what I say. Yeah, close to that. That's what I think.
All right. Robert Wallace says $60 billion. By the way, there's something good coming after this. Trust me. Really important. All right. Who's next? Dami, you're up. How much, Dami?
74 billion.
74 billion in commercial mortgage, commercial real estate loans coming due is Dom Manzo. Come on. Let's go. Anyone else? You know the total value of commercial real estate mortgages set to mature between 2024 and the end of 2026. Skylar Garman.
I think it's like 1.8 billion or something. It's up there. It's in the
1.8 what?
Trillion.
Trillion.
Yeah.
Like with a T, like a T trillion?
Yeah, trillion.
Wow. That's a lot more than 60 billion and 74 billion. Anyone else? Come on.
I put 1.9 trillion is what I put.
1.9 trillion. No cheating, anyone. Come on. One more. Let's go. Total commercial real estate mortgages. And this is going to be important relating to your business in the asphalt maintenance, pavement asset management. This whole niche of what we're in is very important. So let's engage. Let's do this thing. Any other guesses? We need one more guess.
Dan, go. Dan, go.
I'm going 1 trillion.
1 trillion?
With a T.
The price is right.
1 trillion. So we've got Robert Wallace, 60 billion. Dom Manzo, 74 billion. 1.8 trillion. Skylar Garman. Or no, sorry. 1.8 trillion. Sorry, who was the 1.8 trillion? Skylar. And then Matthias. Got it. Perfect. All right. None of you were right. In total, approximately 2 trillion of commercial real estate mortgages are scheduled to reach maturity from 2024 through to the end of 2026. Matthias and Skylar, you are very, very close to that number. You better have a good crew that is walking the yellow brick road with you, man. I'm telling you, because if you don't do that and you're stuck there alone trying to figure all this out on your own, it's going to be tough. So I ask, let's engage and ask some questions here that are going to be important. Raise your hand if you think that there is possibly pullback relating to large capital projects. Raise your hand if you believe there's large pullback on capital projects. By the way, I'm speaking with big paving outfits right now, and they're pivoting right now more towards the asphalt maintenance area of their business that they already have, because they're trying to keep cash moving for their business. So if they're pulling back on big capital projects right now, what are they probably thinking about doing? If there's a property manager and facility manager, property owner, what do you think that they're thinking about doing right now relating to the assets of their commercial properties? Forget about pavement, just their assets. Skylar, you've got your hand up. Dom, you've got your hand up. Dom, go ahead.
Obviously, any single liability issue they have, they're going to have to address no matter what.
liabilities. What could some of the liabilities be?
Pothole, tripping hazards, out of ADA compliance, stuff like that.
Everyone write those notes down. If you already know it, that's great. If you don't, write those notes down. If not, this is recorded. You may want to watch it again and take these notes. I want you to think about marketing. I want you to think about sales and proposals. Skylar.
I was gonna just share on like, being on the other side, being a business owner, having real estate, knowing people that own multiple properties and things like that. I know guys with, multiple units and multiple properties, anywhere from a couple to thousands of units. But, they're already starting to see it on the financial side with banks cross collateralizing properties. So say if you own, I don't know, 50 units, 50 houses through a bank, and you say, hey, I want to sell these two properties. They're starting to make you pay at over 100% value. So they're saying, yeah, great. You want to pay off $100,000 for each one of these homes. You want to sell 2 homes. It's 200,000. You're going to actually owe us $140,000 at closing because we want another $10,000 on 4 other properties paid as well. So when guys are going to cross collateralize, refi, sell properties and things like that, they're not allowing them to sell just a piece or a portion or whatever. They're taking more money than what they would actually do, where they're actually shelling cash out at closing because banks are looking for cash right now. So just little, like, I'm seeing it. I see the insight on, on the actual side where the loans are starting to come due. Banks are looking for cash, and it's getting interesting.
It is getting interesting. So I guess the question is for everyone here relating to the liability side of this, that's one of the things that they're going to have to take care of, even as there's economic constraints and tightening the place. Raise your hand if you believe asphalt, due to economic constraints, raise your hand if you believe asphalt's just going to disappear. Raise your hand if you believe that Elon Musk is going to create some kind of a new kind of robotic asphalt. Billy.
Possible.
I don't know. It might turn into solar pads. But at the end of the day, I think that raise your hand if you believe asphalt's here to stay for probably the rest of your lifetime. All right, cool. Well, if that's the case, I want to share something with you here. I put up this, you may have seen this at the roundups for those of you that have been to the AK roundups, the live events that we host. Of course, we are not these characters on one of the most watched movies on planet Earth. But what I will say is that the AK Roundtable and the community here we are a team. We are a community that's traveling, navigating the yellow brick road. And I'll tell you that the choice that you guys all have, I'll be 100% straight with you, is you can go off and drift alone and try to figure all this shit out on your own during times that are absolutely filled with opportunity, where you're going to have people that are in this kind of paralysis fear mode where they're standing like deer in headlights during these economic times. An election coming up, there's some stuff going on. I think we can all agree, right? More so now than ever. Raise your hand if there's more political stuff going on than kind of what you've probably experienced in your lifetime. Yeah. So there's opportunity though, right? In hard times, there's always opportunities. And that's what we're going to be instilling in our communities, just like we did with COVID. And so what I want to explain to all of you, 25 years ago, this is my 24-year-old son right here. Actually, I guess this is 23 years ago, this particular photo was taken. But I'll tell you that over the period of time that I've gone through in my life, I'm just going to share this with you guys, like in the industry for literally 25 and a half years. I'll tell you that we've grown through hard times. Every time there was a hard time, 2008, we grew. COVID, we grew. And we go through these cycles of 12 to 18 years in the economic trends. You can see them, right? You can see the way that stocks move. You can see the way the markets move. And we're going through a time right now Oh, did I lose you?
We can hear you, brother.
Sorry, guys. Am I back?
You're good.
All right, cool. And you go through these times where it's 12 to 14 years of these, it's actually 12 to 16 years. And I'll share a graph with you guys so that you can see it. But we're going through a time right now where there's more opportunity than ever. And what I mean by that is there's the right kind of opportunity for the right kind of people that desire to go and hunt it. So if we know that property owners, facility managers, and are out there and they're going to need to take care of liabilities first and foremost, and then they have to protect their pavement assets and make them look good is kind of down the line. But if they need to do that for the least amount of money, what kind of services are we speaking about from a marketing and sales standpoint that we're going to get into their hands so that they can understand that this can be done within a budget range that is acceptable to them? What kind of services are we thinking about when we're selling?
I don't know, like from a professional standpoint, but I would believe the patching and striping.
Patching for sure, striping. Like, I'll tell you this, man, what I'm hearing, I'll tell you what I'm hearing. That people are generally not as interested in the full service offering right out of the gate, but more interested in the solutions to their key pain points. And so I think it's our responsibility not to shove quotes down people's throats, but instead actually work the sales process to make sure we're uncovering what it is that we need to uncover to identify the pain points and then provide solutions to them, and do this in phases rather than something that might be overwhelming all at once. Any feedback or questions on that? Coaches, jump in. Anyone jump in. Let's talk.
Hey guys, I think that discovery calls are more needed now than ever. I think that Judd's got a great point. I'm finding on commercial properties that people are zeroed in on a few ailments rather than like a holistic approach. I think that if I review back to my last few conversations with people, I have had quite a few scale back questions, and like, can we get by with one coat rather than two coats? Even they know that they're doing preventative maintenance and it is a little bit of more holistic to try to preserve a pavement asset. So I think it fits real time with what I'm experiencing. I think this is great insight.
Raise your hand, anyone. Anyone, if you have any kind of challenges around any sales right now. Raise your hand if you're having challenge around sales. Raise your hand if you've already pivoted and taken a tactical approach on how you're going to go and build relationships and initiate an initial transaction. Okay. So for those of you that do not have the strategic path forward in what you need to do to go and close some deals, I'm going to tell you straight out right now, you should be hunting the liabilities right now. And the reason why you should be hunting the liabilities is because once you hunt them and you then provide someone with a pavement assessment, raise your hand if you know what a pavement assessment is. All right, cool. For those of you that have been a part of the community for some time, you'll know what a pavement assessment is as well. But for those of you that don't, it's like a report card for the parking lot without pricing. And so, by the way, Dan Leotode, that stogie looks good, man. I know Dom's staring at it right now.
I was just about to comment on that. I was going to be like, man, this guy's got it going. This is the right way to do the round table.
So me too. I love it. So here's Here's what I'll say to you is the pavement assessment in AK Dash, when you can do it, by the way, we're the only company, AK Dash is the only company that has the pavement assessment module built into it. I know somebody was going to finish that statement for me for sure. I'm in the middle of Panama. I'm waiting on my Starlink from Elon. He's flying it in on his UFO shortly. I'm waiting for that, but that should come in next week. In the meantime, what I will say is this: the pavement assessment allows you to essentially give a medical report or a report card to somebody that is just information based. And so what I ask you to do is to get them that pavement assessment. Why do you think it's important to get them the pavement assessment other than for it to be a give and a warm up on the sale? What does it help them with? Come on, guys. I hope you're listening to this because this is freaking gold, what I'm telling you right now. If you apply this stuff, you'll increase your conversion rates dramatically. Do it. Take the time and do it. What does it do for the property owner? What does it do for the property owner?
It identifies the issues that he has on his parking lot that are immediate, needs to, you know, the risk, whether it's cracks, tripping hazards, potholes with, again, tripping hazards and deterioration, and also more of the holistic slash, you know, seal coating, line striping going forward, but allows them to take advantage of your service based on the immediate needs right away.
Let's say that you deliver a pavement assessment to someone and they engage with you about the pavement assessment and there's tripping hazards and liability risks and catch base and lips and so on, any kind of tripping hazards that are there. Let me ask you, if you deliver that pavement assessment to them, and let's say they did have a trip and fall after you delivered that pavement assessment, do you think that that would be something advantageous to the property owner or facility manager to use in the court? In the scenario that they dealt with a trip and fall thereafter, as long as they were showing to take action relating to what it is that they now know about? And they have to take action. Somebody's going to have to take over this meeting. My internet in Panama right tonight is not working out. I wish it was working out better, guys, but you're going to have to step in and rock and roll for me.
We got you, Judd. We got you.
Thank you.
For sure. So can everybody hear fine? Coming through loud and clear? Awesome. All right, so I'm going to ask some of the coaches to give some feedback on what Judd just said about the payment assessment. Who uses it? What are you guys finding for results from it? Skylar, Dom?
We have more stuff in our pipeline now driving our lead indicators. 100%, you know, of course, lead indicators, making the cold calls and doing pavement assessments. All of a sudden, when you're making, you know, 25, 50 at minimum, all of a sudden assessments start getting booked and you start having real pipeline quotes, right? You know, that's the biggest thing I think, you know, for everybody to take away is a lot of people, you know, still question, how do I get my phones to ring instead of ringing the phone, right? And the amount of opportunity that comes out of that, we are starting to see some oddities of, like, we spoke to a guy today. He's like, yeah, you're lucky number 8. And I'm like, 8 quotes on this project, bro? Like, he's like, yeah, 8 quotes. And I'm like, it's 20,000 square feet. What are you trying to compete for? 10 cents? Like, you know, but, you know, I would say we're starting to see a lot more slap and goes too on asphalt stuff. I'm starting to, you know, especially on the large scale stuff, like they just want potholes filled. They're like, no, we've all cutted. We don't want anything. We just want the pothole full and level to the top. And I want you guys to leave. So we're definitely starting to see a lot of that. I mean, granted, we're still doing lots of R&R where we're saw cutting and, you know, fixing bad areas, and things of that sort. But, you know, things are getting a little bit different and it's just getting creative with the solutions. You know, that's really what it is, you know, because sometimes even when we quote R&R, we know the time that it takes for us to saw cut and, remove it and do this stuff. And they're like, they still might not be comfortable with the price. And sometimes it's even hey, proposed like, hey, we can get these filled and just get the liability away, but just realize that this is just a very, very Band-Aid solution, but it will definitely take the liability out of your parking lot for a short term. Winters come around and things like that. Of course, water's going to get in. I wouldn't expect it to hold up very, very long term, but, we can kind of be your standby solution when something does arise, that we can come back out. And especially if you sign a pavement contract with us, we typically, we give them priority scheduling and a couple other things. But basically we just pitch keeping them in a proactive state instead of a reactive state. That's the biggest thing, is like, we're going to come out and we're going to take care of all your reactive problems first. And we're just going to make sure that the parking lot's safe and you're able to use it. And then from there, we'll be your preferred partner, where we're coming out and doing. And not only is this just like a one-hit wonder, guys, too, right? Like, we're not going out and doing a pavement assessment and leaving. We're doing them biannually. So we're going out, we're doing the pavement assessment initially, and then we're coming back out in another 6 months to stay front of mind and to make sure we have any other opportunities in front of us to be able to do. But yeah, I mean, it's very odd, right? Like, some customers are just not too much fazed by it. Like Dom today sold $6,000 in parking blocks, like on a parking lot that was already $45,000. Like, and the guy's just like, yeah, cool, great. I just dump them down here, replace them. Like, just send me the bill. And then there's other customers that have 8 bids.
Yeah, and like Skylar's saying, it's like, back to the liabilities. Like, we always make sure, like, if we have like 5 salesmen that are always going out. Sometimes they miss that liability while they're making the sale, but we don't stop there. Now, while we're on site and our foremans are trained, or our crew leads are trained to identify any liabilities they might run into, or any future liabilities, and we document it. And if it's a liability that we could take care of right there on the spot, just like today, I texted Skylar, I sent him photos, I gave him a complete breakdown right away. He called, the site management, or, the contact for the site. And right away, he's like, you know what? Yes, please take care of that. But even if he didn't, we would still document that. And we make sure that we're following up on those, on those liabilities. And that's always a way to really keep that customer as a returning customer. So make sure you're always, if you're not servicing the liability on the first round, make sure you're documenting it and looking for future liabilities that may come out. Because when you're on site working, you get to see more stuff as you start cleaning and unrevealing the site. Things start, coming alive. So it's really important to also identify those liabilities while you're servicing the site as well.
I think on the flip side of that too, it's given us an opportunity to upsell. So, I want to talk about this, then I'm going to get to the other side where this has completely unlocked in our operation, where instead of like saying, oh, it's a $20,000 project, we have a $10,000 budget, we've also been giving more options where we're offering, more like in-depth layers of our service, where we're doing a different prep style so we can guarantee the material more, whether that be having a pressure wash company come out and cleaning the parking lot in its entirety, having street sweepers come out and having cleaned the parking lot in its entirety. And then not are we only just doing like a spray coat or a double spray coat, but working in multiple coats. Sometimes it's just a rough it out hand application to put a thick coat down, and then a spray coat, where now we're actually upcharging for these applications because we can guarantee the material slightly longer. So instead of saying, hey, in 2 to 3 years, we got to come back here, we're putting them into 3 to 5 year range because they have this year's budget and they're very uncertain what the next 2 years are going to look like. They're like, hey, we got like $50,000. I just need to make sure that I can get by in the next, 3 years, 5 years, or whatever it is. And they're like, we just need this solution. I don't know if we're going to have the budget. What can you do for me? So it's definitely opened up that realm as well, too, where it's like we are providing, again, performance partners on different assets, right? Where power washing, we're still making profit on each and every service line when we're increasing these service items, guys. Like, so now when you have a power washer come out that's cleaning the entire surface, that's degreasing, that's offering a new level of prep, right? How many people are getting that deep in prep? You want to talk about bonded materials? It's nothing better than a completely street swept, debris picked up, pressure washed parking lot. Like, I promise you, materials will adhere better and it'll last longer. And then if you start adding different application methods in there, like squeegee coats, like brush coats, and then you do a finish spray coat or whatever you need to do on top, and start getting those, like a squeegee spray or a brush spray, or, you know, we've been kind of playing with it as we've been going, but really understanding the data too of like, okay, here's our application rate at spray. You know, we know that. But what does it take when we squeegee coat? What does it take when we brush coat and then spray? What does it take? And then being able to now take 25 cents to 50, 60, 70, $2, $3 a square foot to make sure that they're protected for the next couple of years.
That's
You're
awesome
silent, bro.
feedback. That's awesome feedback. Great feedback. I think everybody's learning from this. I am sure, for sure. It's funny because you talk about some of the things that I discuss with contractors every day, and talking about changing up your application from a brush or squeegee to then a fob coat on top of that. Yeah, that's creative.
Mastering the craft is what the audio was meant to be, Skylar. Mastering the craft.
I seen the list and I couldn't read them.
Yeah, it was mastering the craft. And it's like, you know, actually understanding the depth of the application process, what you're actually doing, and the actual depth of what you are solving for these people is so important to understand. That you're either selling seal coat or you're selling something that's way beyond seal coat. And the question is, are you actually practicing in that arena with people that understand that, so that you can become better at communicating about it? And it's not just about the average job price going up, team. It's the conversion rate. It's all the critical drivers that are going to drive your revenue KPI as a business owner. And it's like, man, a salesperson in a company, if you are in sales, raise your hand if you're in sales.
Everybody.
I think we're all in sales. But if we become better at what we do from a sales standpoint, I think there's nothing but opportunity to be able to build a life that's filled with more abundance. And so as we're talking about this, I actually am sitting here thinking like, man, you know, if we think about the critical drivers of what it is that we're doing to drive our business, right? Like, knocking on a certain number of property doors is a critical driver, right? Like physically knocking on the doors. Another critical driver is the knock on doors to meeting the right people conversion rate. Like, what's that ratio, right? Like what from a percentage perspective? If I knock on 100 doors and I'm meeting with only 10 decision makers attached to those 100 doors, I only have 10 decision makers that I now have access to. And then those 10 decision makers, what am I doing to actually work them in the sales process to bring them to a likelihood to close that's higher? And so that is a really important piece of that, team. And then the average order values, all the different pieces that are a part of that. If you're not understanding what that looks like from a bird's eye view perspective, and then getting into it granularly to understand it more, you're leaving a lot on the table. A lot on the table. So those are things that I think are important to identify. What I'd like to do is just kind of open it up to questions. And of course, Matt Phillips, welcome. Good to see you on, buddy. I know you have your hand up, but I'd like to open this up to questions for those of you that are new or scaling or whatever it is. Ask the hard questions, guys. We're here to kind of carve into that and see if we can get some solutions at the other end of the tunnel. Matt Phillips, you got your hand up, buddy. You're muted.
Let me get my volume on here.
Yeah, you're set. We hear you.
So I just wanted to confirm what Skylar was saying there about, you know, knowing your process and getting your processes down. And one thing you left off there, Judd, is that you left out the repeat customer, repeat business. Because you can go in, there's guys that come through my town all the time. They come in, sell and make that 50 cents, 60 cents a square foot, ripping people off, and then they're gone. like I said last week, you know, we've got one customer that we've done four times in the 10 years, 10, 11 years that I've been doing this, four times already. So repeat and quality. And so I've been on here for quite some time. I was going to show you, you know, just throw out here. So we're doing this apartment complex here. This first coat, this is a double spray coat. We're down, you know, our one's down there. There's Cecil, my business partner. We've been finish this off. We had our crew here earlier today, sent them home. You can kind of see we're monsoon season here. But I just want to repeat, you know, that if you do the quality, you do the consistency, and take care of your customers and your customers, you'll have them for life. If you go in and try to, you know, take advantage of them, rip them off, or whatever the case may be, or do inferior work, you're just hurting yourself. So if you're in it for the long haul, do it right, do it professional. You know, I mean, you can see we're branded. I like to keep my guys branded. You know, I don't know if you see my trailer. It's kind of a mess.
Nice
We've been
work,
putting
brother.
down the oil.
Oh,
But yeah, so that's,
love
I
the
just
work.
wanted to throw that out. And I just keeping it on. So I wanted to jump on real quick. I'm going to listen on my earpiece, Judd. If somebody does have a question, you know, that
Cool.
I could help out with, I'll pop back on. But otherwise, we're going to get back to spraying. So I'll keep listening.
I got one thing that I think, you know, especially in this setting, we got to stay cautiously, and we got to make sure that we really be mindful of the people that are here and what that is. But, you know, one thing that like alarmed me is like, I know what you're saying because you're experienced and you have your thing, but you're saying charging 50, 60 cents and ripping customers off. But prospectively, what is ripping a customer off? Like my biggest thing is what I always say and what I get fired up. I mean, anybody that's been to one of my events or has done some, you know, coaching or whatever with me, they know what my mission statement is and what the company culture and what all those things are. Because what I counter everybody to when they say that, when they say you're ripping your customers off, you're digging into your customers' pockets, I counter them with, you're ripping your team off. Is your team driving new trucks yet? Does your team have benefits? Is your team above average pay? What are the things that you're offering to them? And again, I know what you're saying. You're saying the people that are coming in and not doing good work and charging price for everybody else, right? I just wanted to capture that. He's not saying that you can't charge a premium price and do premium work. Like that's what you need to build your complete organization off of, right? I believe that, again, we have a lot of different things, especially in my sales process. One to customers, time again, guys, it's down. You're looking quotes that are apples that we sell oranges to you. I use it all the time. I say it right to the customer's face. I'd be like, you're looking at these quotes in this perspective. This is what I do over here. Yes, we may steel coat, but this is why we're oranges, right? This is why we're the premium brand, right? And if you're not giving options, you're giving ultimatums. Like that's another thing that I pride each and everybody in sales, right? If you're not giving options to spend more money, like selling the parking blocks like Dom did today, like, you know, offering the pressure washing, like offering the street sweeping. If you're not upselling those things, you don't know what that person's ready to spend. So if you're saying, yeah, it's 10 grand here, steel coat, double spray, go. But what if they're ready to spend 150 grand? You can't make that decision for them. You just got to be able to deliver the service to infill that cash spend. So that's one thing in the sales world, guys. You know, again, I just wanted to make sure nobody got it misconstrued. I know, you know, Matt, again, you're a vet, and I know exactly what you were saying. But just for everybody else, guys, you know, that's the biggest thing that'll set you apart. And like, say it. I say it right to customers. When I go into my you're looking at quotes that are apples to apples. We sell oranges. I was like, the reason we sell oranges is because we are a little bit of a premium price. But you want to know something? I promise you, you're going to get a premium service. You're going to get a company that answers the phone when you have an issue, because things do come up in this world, right? I'm not going to say, I'm going to do my best to deliver a seamless experience for you and deliver an amazing customer journey. But when something does come up, I'm going to be the first one to answer the phone and stand behind what I do. This is how I'm going to applicate.
Skylar, I don't mean to jump in. Matt, I know you're getting back to your job and you're putting your earpiece in. Did you want to say something before you hop off?
Yeah, no, I agree with Skylar. I was just what I was referring to, the 60 cents or whatever. So in my market, we're in that 20 to 30 cent price range, but there's guys that come in, and I think Anthony wrote on there on the chat about putting down black water. So I guess what I'm saying is that there are guys that are coming out and ripping people off, but if you're putting down a quality product, and yeah, if you could get a premium price, do it if it fits your market, and stand out from the other companies that are coming in. They don't sweep around the edges, around perimeters, putting down stuff, because it's nothing's more frustrating than going and bidding on a property, and then the customer's already thinking, well, are you going to clean up around the edges? And I'm like, yes, we do. Well, the last person I did this didn't, and here it's all messy. So I guess what I was saying is that just be the best you can be, and be above and stand out from your competition. And yeah, I agree with Skylar. You're going to be able to get premium pricing.
Yes, sir.
And it comes with that premium service. So when people know who you are, see your work, you can yield those higher numbers. So
let's go, bud. Couldn't agree more, man. Crush that job out there, Matt. Always, we appreciate it, and I'm glad that it's so great to have open board for open communication right now. Anthony, crush that job, Matt. Do it, and upsell another 10 grand on it. Let's go. See you, buddy. Bye. Anthony, did you want to chime in on this?
Yeah, I mean, Skylar's absolutely right. You know, providing value is not only pre-sale and during the installation, but post-sale. So, you know, a lot of times I'll say, like, I'm not going to sit here and claim to be perfect. If you do have a problem, you're going to have an accountable contractor that's going to stand behind the work, and we're going to make sure that if you have a concern afterwards, that, you know, you may have already paid your balance, but I'm still going to answer the phone. So everyone's had that been brushed off after they pay kind of feel from contractors in the industry, you know, and there's a little bit of work that we could do during the pre-sale to make sure people know that we are going to be accountable afterwards. So I digested a contract last week, maybe it was the week before, and it was a comparable estimate. Our repair costs were the same. Our maintenance of the seal coating of the parking lot was completely different. We were 3 times higher than the other contractor. And they said, help me understand, this is a non-for-profit. We want to make sure that we're spending the donated funds correctly. And I said, great, send me the bid. They sent me the bid. The first thing the bid said was, client to do all preparation on the parking lot. And I said, I would imagine that the best use of the donated funds to your nonprofit would be using a contractor that's going to shoulder all the burden of the preparation so that they can be accountable afterwards. I said, if you call that contractor after they do the work, they're going to say, well, you didn't prep it well enough, and that's why it didn't stick, or that's why, you know, you're having the situation that you're having. So I simply said that. He said, you're absolutely right. He sent the check, job's done, been paid for, came out fantastic. It was one of the projects that we did last weekend. So, you know, it is that, just that little extra step, and like, spend the time to show what your difference is, and don't be afraid to stand on your rates. Your rates are what your rates are. And if you tell them like, oh yeah, I can do it for their price, that ends up just, that muddies the water, and that makes you look like you're taking advantage of.
Yeah.
Ant, I got a question for Ant. Ant, how many times have people said to you, you know, I see your price a little bit higher. Can you help me understand, right? And then when you're new at sales, you're like, oh no, oh no, and you freeze. But it's when you start learning, now it's your perfect opportunity to show them you actually know what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
That's actually like a huge green light. Like, okay, now I get to show this guy I know what I'm talking about, and then you just provide the value with just knowing exactly what you're doing, knowing about your products, knowing about your processes, knowing about every single thing that has to do with that job and how you're going to provide value to them. And then they're like, oh, okay, that's great. Where do I sign? Right? How many times do they say that? Probably every time, right?
I mean, I hear it quite a bit. I mean, one thing that I like to tell people is, like, if you want me to send you our multiple step SOP so that you can see what our guys are trained to do, why they're doing it the way that they're doing it, our service lines actually call out some bad practices. So if there's I'm not going to put fuel on a fire, but there's things that people do in the industry that some people see are good, some people see are bad. If you can list those things and provide it to your client in the original documentation, and you say, this is what we do for our crack filler, this is what we do not do, this is the type of product that we use, and you can give them the specifics. We closed a 65,000 square foot parking lot, not huge, but the guy said, I simply went with your proposal because you provided so much detail in your service line. I didn't say I seal coat it, I crack fill it, and then we line scrape it. Like we gave them information so that they had the product knowledge of what we were using, why we were using it, and what we weren't going to do. Like we're not going to come in and we're going to, do the things that I don't feel are right. And then it says, if other contractors aren't telling you the size and width of the crack that they're filling, they may be doing a different standard than we are, and we hold ourselves to a higher standard. Simply that. Say it, like call it out. We don't do this, and if other contractors are not telling you that they're not doing that, they may well be trying to pull a fast one on you. Find a way to.
You're on your 16th year, Anthony?
Oh man, feels like a million, but yeah, I guess 2009. So yeah.
So I'm assuming that you have a lot of repeat business because of that tactic.
I close parking lots that the people don't even know the total on the parking lot because they trust me so much that they know that I'm going to bill them for the proper amount of crack fill to be filled. We send out open-ended estimates for $10,000 plus, and people sign them, send them back to us, and they end up paying $16,000, $18,000. They don't even know what the price is, but they know that they're dealing with a reputable contractor that's passionate about this industry, that wants to provide information to them, and is going to be there when they need it.
It's absolutely huge. Thank you, team. Appreciate this. Everyone, just give a little round of applause for the coaches there. Come on, let's go. You guys are awesome, man. You guys are superstars. Appreciate it. All right, let's keep rolling here. Mr. Dan,
Dan is up.
Let's go.
How's it going, guys? Yeah, I got a quick question. We were talking about sales. I was wondering if anybody kind of had any tips on when you go to kind of a more commercial setting and I've been meeting with property managers that I would assume was a decision maker, and then get the proposal and get the bid out, and then it goes to like, okay, I need to send this up to corporate. So finding like the person I'm actually meeting with, they call themselves a decision maker, but then it actually boils down to there's another decision maker on top of them. Any tips on bridging that gap in between the on-site decision maker to the real decision maker? Like what are some tips to be able to kind of get my face in front of the true decision maker?
I'd love to pull Coach Alex Coring if he's listening to that question right there. I'd love to pull him on and have him talk about this, because I know we have a lot of people with experience, but Alex has some really awesome experience here as well. Let's do this thing.
Yeah, hey, I'm here. Sorry, I was a little late on the call. I was finishing up a job, so hopefully I have everything in context. But we deal with a lot of property management companies, so we see this a lot. The initial call goes out to the local contact, which is, on the apartment complexes is this the community manager. And so their job is to basically collect bids, right? They're just collecting 1, 2, 3 bids. And you want to make sure that you're staying on top of that person, because that person's not necessarily going to come back to you. They might just go with the lowest bid, but you always want to let them know up front that if somebody does come back with a lower bid or a bid that they're looking at going with, that you can further the conversation to do a lot of the things that Skylar and Don were just talking about, and Anthony is adding that value. Tomorrow I have a meeting with a property management company. I went down and did like a 2-day walk on a property. It was a $700,000 bid. And the owner of the property that just bought it, then it went up to them and they said, "Oh, I don't understand why this bid is, what it is. We when we bought the property, we didn't think that there was going to be this much investment into fixing the property." So I proposed the meeting with them, and the owner themselves are coming out to the property to do a walkthrough. I think just adding that value of saying, "Hey, I'm going to come out there personally. If you need to go back and do another walkthrough of that property and get the owner to come out, and then you can explain to them, you can be that on-site expert, show them what's going on with their property, and explain to them exactly what their needs are for their pavement asset management plan, whether it be a 1, 2, 3-year plan, however you want to break it down. If your bid isn't within their budget, then sometimes you might want to split that up into like a multi-year. I would say that you really wouldn't want to just jump into, "Hey, I'm going to discount my work." I think a better strategy is to divide the work up into a multi-phase, so that you can get all of the work done and explain to them what they need on the property, not what they think they're trying to fit into a budget. So, in terms of getting in front of those higher level people, you got to elevate the conversation and offer your services to go out there and rewalk that property with the actual decision maker and show them why your bid might be different. I just had another situation today come up where we were $140,000 on a pave and seal coat, and the 2 other competitors came in at 99 and 100,000. So we were 40% higher than the other ones, and we were not thrown out of the bid. They want me to come back out and propose to them, "Hey, I don't think that these other contractors are giving you apples to apples," to kind of mention what was said earlier, like, "Hey, I'm giving you oranges, they're giving you apples. Let me come out and show you what we're going to do on this property and explain your services and explain your expertise." So I think those would be the 2 options that I would suggest, is splitting up bids into a multi-phase so that you're not having to lower your price, and then offering to come back out and rewalk the property with that decision maker and say, "Hey, you want to come on site and see actually what's going on your property."
Alex, I think if there's one too that you should touch on is like some of the stuff that me and you spent time on. Guys, like when we talk about the circle, right? It's not just always us trying to help you guys level up. We're doing it ourselves. Like I've personally spent time with Alex to learn stuff he does, and we always are shooting stuff off of each other and doing some of these things. But I know sometimes, especially in like this corporate world with the video walkthrough stuff too, Alex, with just presenting online, I think would be great for Dan. Because I know it gets tricky sometimes if like the actual corporates in, Pennsylvania and the hotels in California or whatever, you know what I mean?
Sorry.
100%. Dan, does that help a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, guys. Yeah, it was just mainly like get the bid in, thought I was talking to the right person, and then just like, hey, okay, we're going to send this up to corporate. So I like that last comment on the video message. That way maybe they send that up as well.
So, or just offer to present the bid, like Alex is saying, like doing a walkthrough on the property, do a walkthrough on the property virtually. That's another thing to really level it up. So you're going to pull up your proposal and you can pull up some maps and actually talk to them about it. Pull up some pictures if you're doing your on-site assessment. Hey, we're going to cut this area out here. This is what we're doing. This is how we're going to do it. This is the way it's going to work, and you're going to do this like scheduling Zoom meetings Or if you can't get them to actually confirm a sit down, you can record it and send it. Alex is the man for that.
Yeah, and I
and
guess
like,
oh, sorry.
no, that exactly what Scholar said. Like if you can't get in front of the shot caller and you shoot that video, guess where that video's going? In front of who? Probably the shot caller, right?
Thank you. Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, pretty much like almost all of my bids over, I'd say $40,000-$50,000 are including video walkthroughs of the property. So you can go out, you can film it, you can upload it to YouTube, and then you could embed it into your proposal. Another thing that I do is video capture with a product called Vidyard. There's another one called Loom, and it puts a little bubble in the lower left-hand corner of your screen. So it has your face, and they can put a face to the name, and then you're doing an actual presentation. They can see you talking about it while you're walking through the property. As long as you've gone out and collected all the data on that property, taken the appropriate pictures, videos, and kind of pin them to the locations on the property, they can when that proposal goes out to the owner, they're actually kind of like getting to know you without you being there, right? And I think that kind of opens up the door for saying, if you need to go out there in person, that's the virtual way of doing it. But if you need to go out there in person, they already feel like they know you when you show up on site. So I think it helps.
So I just posted something in the chat here. Thank you, Alex Coring. Thanks for the question, Dan. I'm going to share my screen here. Let me know when you can see my screen. Let's post this. Take a look. Can you guys see
we can
my
see
screen?
it. You bet.
All right. So let's read through this. Sales statistics. 48% of salespeople never follow up with a prospect. It's almost half. 25% make a second contact and then stop. 12% make only 3 contacts and stop. Only 10% make more than 3 contacts. Sales conversion rates. 2% of sales are made on the first contact, 3% on the second contact, 5% on the third contact, 10% on the fourth contact, 80% on the 5th to 12th contact. And so let's do an exercise. I want you to pick which sales statistic on your follow-up at the very top. Are you 1, 2, 3, or 4 dot? Which one are you? Are you this one here? Oops, my bad. Are you 48%? Are you part of that group that you never follow up after you initiate a payment assessment or quote? Or maybe you're part of this 25% and you actually make a second one and then you stop. Or maybe you're part of this 12% that only make 3 contacts and then stop. Or maybe you're a badass and you do more than 3 and you're growing your business faster than the other groups. And then on the sales conversion rate, are you just kind of, touching base on the first contact here? Second contact, maybe? Or are you going to scroll down and do 80%? I'm actually doing, in today's market, again, 12 to 14 contacts is what it is. And I'm going to be straight with everyone here. A lot of people say, well, yeah, but I don't have the time to do all of that. I don't have the time to do all of that. And I say, well, then keep spending all your time trying to acquire new customers and keep pumping that front end of that pipeline. I call it the green check mark. Keep doing it. Slow down to speed up with what it is that you understand statistically now to actually push through with. It's crucial. How many of you here truly, raise your hand, be honest with me. Be honest. How many here actually touch base with someone who you've put a proposal out to 14 times, touch points? Alex Coring, you raised your hand. Is that right?
Yeah, we a lot of it. A lot of our touch points are automated. So sometimes, like if I look back in my queue, in my activity record, sometimes there's 20 points of contact. But we have tasks created in our CRM to call on a schedule. The schedule set by the inside sales rep. And sprinkled in between those calls are automated reminder messages that they have outstanding proposals with images from the property, reminding them what the work is that needs to be done, and the full scope of work with the proposal embedded, and then the call schedule is on top of that. So sometimes it's in excess of 20 points of contact.
Let's go. Let's go. We're talking touch points here. It doesn't have to be 14 phone calls. It can be video messages, text messages. It can be your automation. Dylan Malone on here, who's got the big smile on the screen. You can see him. Come on, Dylan, come off mute and give me a let's go. Let's go. Come on. This is after Dom's trained us to do this. Let's go. Come on.
Let's go, baby.
Dylan Malone's crushing it with AK Dash, by the way, and we have workflows inside of AK Dash that nicely follow the proposals and do a lot of automation work for you. If you want to learn more about that, you have his email address that's right up there underneath his profile. But I know, Dylan, you've been rocking demos and helping people get optimized with AK Dash, right? And on these touch points and so on.
Yes, sir.
Cool. And so what's the best way for people to book demos with you and get on just for some training?
I will drop the link in the chat right here.
Beautiful. Sharpen our spears, everyone. Let's get better at what we do. Let's have a customer management system, a proposal solution, automation, the tools that you need. Sharpen up everything that you're doing right now, and let's activate. We're at the top of the hour right now for the round table. Sorry for my connection earlier. Apologies. Lots going on, and looking forward definitely to next week. There's going to be a guest that's coming on next week. Stay tuned for a special guest who has built a company to that 8-figure mark as well. And I'm excited to introduce you all to that person. So let's go ahead and make sure that as we're going through this next week that we're applying some of these golden nuggets. Raise your hand if you got some takeaways here today. Yeah, cool. I know Bam did as well. He's taking notes nonstop. I see that. That's great. Awesome. Cool. Any questions before we hop off? Any last statements, coaches, anyone?
Great job, everyone.
Fantastic. All right, cool. Let's do this thing. Have a beautiful night, everyone. See you next week. Same time, same place, right here on the AK Roundtable. See you guys.
Let's go.